So, I'm a little late to the party, but recently I've been obsessed with the amazing digital circus, and I strongly recommend it. If you haven't watched the episode, please do, or else you'll probably not understand anything from this video. This is one of the only shows where I'm actually wondering whether or not the main character achieves their goal, in this case, living. I really hope they all escape, because I love them with all the love I'm legally allowed to give. For the sake of this video, let's say they do, because my entire AU concept is their lives after they escape the circus, and the repercussions on their lives and mental states. Can you call that an AU? Isn't that more of a headcanon? I don't know, I'm not an expert on fandom stuff. Please correct me in the comments. Of course, this will not be including Kane and Bubbles in their AIs, nor abstracted characters such as Kaufmo or Queenie because, well, I'm pretty sure they can't be saved anymore. The first character I redesigned is of course the main character of the series, Pommy. I guess in the real world, her name isn't Pommy, it probably isn't even close, but I don't have any ideas for her name, so I didn't name her yet. So Pommy was confirmed to be 25, but in my story they escaped 1 year after her arrival, so she's 26. And is it just me, or do we not really know anything about her yet? I mean, she's a very unique character with how anxious she acts, but I'm not sure she's always like this. I feel like if we were suddenly trapped in a twisted simulation, with no hope of getting out, we'd all behave that way. Of course, it isn't a bad thing, especially because it's the first episode, but I had to make things up. In my idea, she had, and still has after the circus, little money and she struggles to make ends meet. She was unhappy with her life, rarely saw anyone, and didn't take proper care of herself. After the circus, she wants to feel more grateful, but with her new trauma, enjoying life is quite hard. If she didn't have anxiety before, she sure does now. Taking care of herself has become even harder. As you can see, she doesn't really brush her hair and she wears 2 different colored socks. Also, she still struggles with money, so she can't afford a lot of pretty or fancy clothes. And I imagine she now has trouble sleeping and has frequent nightmares. But at least she has 5 new friends. And there she is, Pommy after escaping. Next one on the list is my personal favorite character. And no, it isn't Jax. It's actually Kinger. I don't know how to explain it, but I absolutely adore his character. Probably because he's one of the 2 most mentally stable and capable characters. So in this version of the story, which happens 1 year after Pommy's arrival, he's 49. And I think he was there for about 20 years, so he entered the circus in his early 30s or late 20s. As anyone can see, being in a circus for such a long time has messed with his head, and I feel like if he escapes, he will never be the same again. From what we've seen, I believe he's the kind of person to ignore his problems until they go away. I mean, he's absent-minded, forgetful, and he's always hiding in his impenetrable fortress. So in the real world, he will probably always be lost in his thoughts and not talk or interact much, because his mind will still think he's in the circus, and he wouldn't be doing much of his days, often struggling to get up or the basic things, partly because of his mental state, partly because he's used to the circus where he didn't really have to eat, wash himself, brush his teeth. I mean, he had no mouth, and he had to scream. All of this is why I drew him with an expression where it feels like he's staring into the void. See what I did there? Also, I think that unlike Pommy, he would sleep a lot. Anyway, I drew him with long hair because I can, and gave him some hair strands pointing upward to resemble a crown. I even gave him a checkered shirt to look like a chessboard. I still gave him purple pants because his purple robe is a big part of his character design. Just like Pommy, I gave him unmatched socks to indicate he doesn't really pay attention to how he's dressed. I gave him 1 red sock because we've seen that Queenie's robe was red, and I don't think he moved on yet. Yeah, I'm one of the many people who think Queenie was his wife who abstracted. The only thing going against that theory is that she's on the black team, which would be the adversary team of Kinger, so maybe they're enemies. But their couple is too cute, and in my story I refuse to see them as anything but lovers. So I justify this by saying that in my story, before they enter the circus, they were already married and they used to play chess a lot, so Kinger played as the white team and Queenie as the black team. Maybe they had some sort of playful rivalry. I would find this so cute. But in my ID, Kinger doesn't play chess anymore despite being good at it, because not only does it remind him of his time stuck in the circus, but it also reminds him of his former wife. So this is the result. I must say that I'm very proud of it. For the next character, I have to put a trigger warning for mentions of bullying, people loving and someone's body type, also trauma and mental illness. If any of this is familiar to you, you are not alone. Next one on the list is another character I particularly like, Gengle. She's just adorable, and to me, she's the most relatable character. She cries a lot, doesn't defend herself, and that's about it. I have two things that help pinpoint her age when she entered the circus. One, her confirmed age is 26, so in my story she's 27, and it has been confirmed that Jax chose her name, so he was already around when she entered. But we'll talk about him later. I'm gonna say she spent 10 years in the circus, so she was around 17 when she entered. In my version, she already had a low self-esteem because she was bullied her whole life. My human Gengle had a very low weight compared to her height because of genetics, which is why in the circus she was made out of ribbons. And in the real world, she was mocked for being skinny. The more she was bullied, the more difficult it was for her to be confident, which led to more bullying. Also, I feel like her masks are a metaphor for depression, so in my version, she was... Oh no, I can't speak English anymore. In my version, she has depression and anxiety. Side note, please know that if you have depression or anxiety, you are not alone. Trust me, it will eventually get better. You can do this. And I think that after leaving the circus, she wanted the things to never happen again. So now she's a people pleaser and always tries to be someone she's not. Also, since she wants to avoid conflict so much, she never says when she disagrees with something, so she just never says no. She's way too kind for her own good. And she doesn't want to be a burden, so she never opens up about her feelings. About the design, I tried to draw a skinnier body type. I'm not that good at drawing a different body type from the one I usually draw, so I went out of my comfort zone and I apologize if I did not do well. I gave her long red hair and oversized red clothes because I wanted them, especially the sleeves, to resemble the ribbons. So this is the result! Okay, so I'm really sorry to interrupt the video, but I have something to say, and no, it is not a sponsor. If you've made it this far, you probably enjoy my content. If you subscribe, not only will you help me a lot as a small artist, but you'll also be notified about what is currently my biggest project, the pilot episode of one of my cartoon projects. It will come out this year, so in 2024, and if I work efficiently enough, in the first half of the year. It is about a Grim Reaper girl who hates her job, and she has a mortal friend group. Anyway, back to the redesigns! Next one is finally Jax. Are you happy now? Are you happy now? Just kidding. I really like this character. He's just not in my favorites, and I had more fun drawing him and coming up with a story than I thought I'd have. You see, I think he was in the circus for about 11 years. His confirmed age is 22, so in the storyline he's 23. So in our version, he was 12 when he entered the circus. I'd see Jax as a cool bully, to be honest. I have no problem imagining him in middle school, calling names and spreading rumors. In my story, Jax was a school bully who was popular, so he was constantly validated in his actions. So in the circus, he wouldn't see any reason to not continue doing the sort of things especially since, there are endless possibilities and basically no consequences. The only real consequence is everyone hating him, but he doesn't care as long as he's having his fun. And trapped in that circus, he never really grew up. After leaving, though, well, he's supposed to act mature and be an adult. He continues to be this way to everyone, but he's always called out and some people won't let him go so easily. Now, there are many consequences to his actions. He can cause actual serious harm to people, he has trouble finding and keeping a job due to his immaturity, and now he doesn't live in a fantasy world where he always has somewhere to live, doesn't really need to eat, drink, or sleep, and the real problem is that since every other character hates him, they don't help him out. So now that he has nothing, he actively tries to be a better person because he realizes the error of his ways, and also because he needs somewhere to sleep and something to eat. However, he's been a bad person for so long that he simply doesn't know how to be a good person. I think this conflict would really be interesting. Now about the design. I gave him Crocs because I can, I cut his red overalls, and to keep the purple, I gave him a purple shirt underneath and purple socks. I gave him brown eyes, but I made them as yellow as I could. Instead of his usual carefree smile, I drew him a bit nervous to show that things don't always go his way anymore. So this is Jax! I loved coming up with his story, it was interesting and so much fun! For the next one, I have to put a trigger warning again for mentions of physical assault. The penultimate character I redesigned is Reta. I was about to say it's another character I particularly like, but I'm not going to say that for everyone. While looking at the wiki, I found out that she was confirmed to have been here the second longest time next to Kinger, which is pretty useful knowledge. In my story, she was there since she was 15, and since in this storyline she's 31, it means she was trapped for about 16 years. In my story, before entering the circus, she wanted to be a therapist because she wanted to help people. However, she gave up her dream and everything she liked because one day, when she was walking alone, someone stabbed her in the eye and it was traumatic. Am I overanalyzing the fact that in the show one of her eyes is a button? Yes I am, but I don't care if I'm overanalyzing. She started to unconsciously blame herself. While in the circus, as we can see, she wanted to be an optimist, but it's pretty hard to be one when, you're in a twisted simulation with no hope of getting out. I'm guessing she wants to help everyone no matter the situation, because among all the characters, she was the kindest to Pommy. By the way, I won't include this in my story because it's about everyone escaping, but in the official series, there will probably be another character who abstracts in the following episodes. And I never see anyone talking about this, but I feel like Reta will be the next to abstract. She's not actually happy. She forces herself to be because I feel like she's the support of the group. Anyway, in my story, Rashid doesn't abstract. When she escapes, her mental health actually gets worse, because now she remembers getting stabbed and she thinks it's her fault, so she has a low self-esteem. The others still see her as reliable, so she feels like she has to help everyone, and she starts having a toxic positivity mindset because she's scared of having negative emotions. I don't have much to say about the redesign, and I'm not very happy with it. I don't know, I just wasn't inspired. But here it is! And last character, Zubal. I honestly feel kind of bad because I love them, but I sadly didn't find much to say about them because they didn't talk much in the episode and their personality is hard to define for now. And I'm kind of unhappy with how my redesign turned out. Despite really loving this character, I was scared of drawing them because of their complex design, so I just procrastinated and drew them last. And again, I was just not inspired. Plus, I have already done 5 redesigns, and at this point I'm just tired. Anyway, I feel like they've been in the circus for approximately 3 years, and if I remember correctly, they're 22. Wait, I'm gonna look it up. Yeah, they're 22. So in my version, 23. So in my story, they were 18 when they entered. I think they were a rebellious young adult. Beyond the shocking aspect of their style to show that my version of them doesn't care about norms, I tried to keep their style, how do I say it, chaotic, because they're trying new things to find themselves. I don't know if it's in character, but I really wanted to draw them smiling slightly. I feel like after escaping, they kind of softened up around their friends, even though they're still somewhat rude to other people. I think they're the kind of person to be intimidating, but once you know them, they're really friendly, they just don't let it show that much. And maybe they know themselves better now and are a little bit more at peace with themselves. Also, I headcanon them to be Gengle's best friend and you can't stop me. So here is the result. And here are all my designs. Let me know which one is your favorite. Mine is probably Kinger, but I really like them all and I'm really proud of them. This is my first time making a longer video, so tell me if you like it. I might make more of this type of videos in the future. Once again, if you like the video, please subscribe. It would help me out a lot with my 60-something subs, because I have a lot of projects, and who knows, this channel might become something big. So see you soon, hopefully. Take care of yourself and stay hydrated. Goodbye!